When I put them in the pool, it was not for Olympic glory. It was for safety, first and foremost, for fun, for friends, and a healthy lifestyle. I always knew I'd get my kids involved in swimming. Get yours involved too. Visit swimtoday.org. Get them started now.
We were having such an incredible day boating on the lake, and then in an instant, Anthony was gone forever. I lost my son to a silent killer, carbon monoxide poisoning. To learn more, please visit coactiongroup.org or call 866-944-2624.
You're watching WMBC TV, Newton, New Jersey.
Good evening and welcome to WMBC Hometown. I'm your host, Lisa Wojcicki. As we begin a new year, the tri-state begins working toward a new normal. As you know, Hurricane Sandy ripped through our area like never before, leaving billions of residents powerless for days, even weeks. Coming up later in the show, I'll sit down with one lawmaker who is bringing light to the situation with a backup plan for businesses. But first tonight, the onset of one of the worst flu seasons in recent memory has caused hospital officials to revise their visitation policy. Rob Sharowski tells us what some hospital visitors are facing.
Hospital visitation has been dramatically curtailed as a precaution against the spreading of the flu virus. New rules implemented this past weekend at the Jersey City Medical Center are only allowing visitation by adults who are free from flu-like symptoms. In fact, those with flu-like symptoms are being told not to enter the hospital building.
At the front desk, when you're asked to why you're here, various questions are asked on your health status and how you're feeling, and based on that, we make a decision on whether to not let them in. Anybody under the age of 18 is strictly prohibited from entering the healthcare facility. We just don't want these people getting in contact, getting sick, and then eventually bringing that home and to prevent spread of the flu.
The restrictions extend to all parts of the hospital, including visiting expectant mothers in labor. The hospital took out a full-page ad in the Jersey Journal advising people to stay away from hospitals unless absolutely needed. The hospital also recommends some tips to protect yourself, including always washing your hands with warm water, covering your mouth when sneezing or coughing, and staying home from work or school if you do feel sick.
Remember, everybody who even has flu doesn't require hospitalization. They can be given antiviral medications such as Tamiflu, and if taken within 48 to 72 hours of onset of symptoms, it can actually prevent you from going into the full flu.
And doctors say even though it's the peak of the flu season, it's still a good idea to get yourself a flu shot. From Jersey City, I'm Rob Chirowski for WMBC News.
And several hospitals in the tri-state area have issued guidelines during this flu season, limiting visitation to those over 18 and 2 visitors per patient. They can also not be sick either. Please call or check your hospital's website before visiting. According to a new public mind poll from Fairleigh Dickinson University, only 39% of voters say they approve of a fee on paper and plastic bags. As Melissa Estock reports, the fee is aimed at discouraging the use of disposable bags and reducing litter.
When shopping at a food store, you're usually asked paper or plastic, but the new question might be fee or no fee. A new poll finds 56% of the state's voters are opposed to the legislation that would enforce a 5-cent fee on all paper and plastic grocery bags.
I think it's a little ridiculous since everything else is going up in prices. Why should we pay for something that should be given by the store anyway?
An assembly version of the bill has not yet been introduced. It would apply to any disposable carryout bag regardless of its material. The poll included 700 registered voters in New Jersey who were contacted by phone in a 5-day span.
They're charging for everything else. They should stop this. People cannot afford what is going on now.
If the bill becomes law, it would kick in on January 1st, 2014. By the next year, businesses would be outlawed from using non-recyclable plastic or paper bags.
They're going to start charging people. It's probably a good idea because then it'll encourage people to use the recycling bag more.
I don't think it's very fair, but I do think it would make people use tote bags a little more, so a little more economically friendly.
This is a part of a measure lawmakers and environmentalists say will cut down on pollution. The legislation passed in the Senate Environmental Committee with bipartisan support last month.
If people would just use recyclable tote bags, which is kind of like what everyone's trying to get people to do.
I think that people should use the recycling bags. It's just very convenient. Why wouldn't you? Otherwise you're wasting all that paper and plastic.
This legislation is sponsored by Senator Bob Smith of Middlesex and has not been set for a vote in the full Senate. Reporting in Essex County, I'm Melissa Estock for WMBC News.
With reports from the Division of Environmental Protection showing New Jersey suburbs being one of the most deer-populated areas in the nation, one county is continuing a plan to cull the deer and make their roads safer. Rob Chorowski has more.
For years, the rising deer population in some New Jersey towns has threatened parks and roads. But Essex County officials are making inroads to fix the problem. County Executive Joe DiVincenzo approved the deer management program for another year, but it will be scaled back. And officials say their plan is working. Since the program began, there are 45% less deer being removed from county roads.
At one time, we had the high of 363 deer car accidents on our roads, I think in 2008. And last year, we're down, continue to go down, 201. Our goal is to get it under 100.
Officials say to maximize safety, roads and parking areas inside the reservations will be closed to the public while the cull takes place. At the South Mountain Reservation, vegetation and tree growth have been on the decline, and officials say this will allow the county to replenish the land. In addition, all deer meat, or venison, will be donated to the community food bank in Hillside.
What a food bank very rarely gets is meat, protein sources. And they are so happy to get venison because it gives them something that they just normally cannot supply much of.
In the past 5 years, over 800 deer have been removed from the county's reservations. And Joe DiVincenzo says there's no need to stop the progress.
Then he said to me, he says, how could you just decide to stop it? If you do stop it, you're gonna go back to what it was. And they were absolutely right. And they said, you spend hundreds of thousands of dollars to replant, and now you just want to stop the program. The deer are just not going to go away.
The program will be conducted in South Mountain Reservation on January 22nd, 24th, and 29th. It will be held in Hilltop Reservation twice a day on January 31st, February 5th, and February 7th. Reporting from West Orange, I'm Rob Chorowski for WMBC News.
And stay with us. I'll sit down with New Jersey Assemblywoman BettyLou DeCroce after the break. Stay with us.
It's our duty to serve veterans and military families who serve their country in the most difficult ways imaginable. Together, we can say thank you in so many ways. Small acts of kindness mean more than anything. With our support, veterans and military families can face even the most difficult challenges. Let's honor their service with ours.
This neighborhood sure has changed a lot over the years. There was a time when people like me couldn't live here. I will never forget being told I wasn't welcome in this neighborhood. Well, I own this building now. The Fair Housing Act made a difference for someone like me, so I can choose where I want to live, free from discrimination. Glad you could make it. Right this way.
Time was, kids did what came naturally, spending free time running through the grass, exploring streams. But times have changed. Today's indoor kids spend more than 7 hours in front of electronic media. That's why National Wildlife Federation created the Be Out There movement. Outdoor play improves kids' health, body, mind, and spirit. It helps them stay fit, enhances creativity, and could even make them better students. There's a reason they call it the Great Outdoors. Learn more at beoutthere.org.
Be out there!
Thanks for joining us on this edition of WMBC Hometown. I'm Lisa Wojtycki, and today we have with us Assemblywoman BettyLou DeCroce, who represents the 26th District of New Jersey. BettyLou, thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me, Lisa.
So you were just elected to this seat previously held by your husband, the late Alex DeCroce, who literally, gave his life to public service.
Yes, he did, and I was. November 6th, the people elected me, and I was sworn in on December 17th to fill his full term.
Great. And so now here we are. We're January 2013. We're fresh off the State of the State address. What do you see going forward? I mean, what did you take away from the State of the State address that really struck a chord with you?
The most important thing, and rightfully, the governor was right on target talking about Hurricane Sandy. And in everyone's minds, of course, there's many issues in New Jersey, but right now this is the most important because it affects the state throughout the entire state of New Jersey as what's happening with the recovery of Sandy. So I agreed with him. I thought he was right on target. We do need the federal funding. It's unfortunate that Congress decided to take a break. Did it bother me? Absolutely. There's 41,000 residents still displaced, families in the state of New Jersey. And for them to leave is, to me, unconscionable. I mean, let's face it, if it was one of their colleagues, maybe they would have stayed there to vote. But what about all the 41,000 people that are, families that are displaced? That has to be of great concern. So, my understanding is they did pass $9.7 billion immediately, and I believe on the 17th or 15th of January, they're supposed to do the full package, and hopefully they pass everything that's needed for New York and New Jersey.
Absolutely. And looking back at Hurricane Sandy, we all remember being out of power, whether it was going to the gas station, the supermarket, your own home, freezing, whatever it was.
That's for sure.
And you have drafted a bill. So next time, we're not stuck in that kind of situation. Why don't you tell us about that?
Yes, I did tour the district, and I went into a lot of different facilities, community centers, rode the streets, listened to the residents. And something that I felt was important was not just to, react quickly and throw something together, but to do something more comprehensive. So working with my staff, we did. We put together A3495, which is the New Jersey Residents Power Protection Act. And this particular act is to help have electricity in the event of another storm to gas stations, which was, of course, a major subject. Pharmacies, people could not get their prescriptions. There was nursing homes, assisted living facilities that I did go into, and there were extension cords. The current law only requires them to have 3 days worth of power in there. So, and it's limited, it's hit or miss. Maybe you have one outlet that works and 4 that do not and 1 that does. So this bill would require 90% power, and it's a clean energy bill on top of it because it's required to be fueled through either natural gas or propane. So looking at the bill, and there's many other things that went into it, grocery stores. I visited grocery stores. There was grocery stores that had the energy there to generators to fuel them, and they were flowing perfectly. There was other grocery stores that all their produce, their meat, their dairy was gone, totally gone. So the cost to them is astronomical. And that is going to hurt the economy in the state of New Jersey and being shut down. Even the gas stations, look at how much money per day it costs them to be shut down. So looking at this, and I did share with you earlier that I came out of local government, so I do not like mandates. And you look at this bill and you say, well, it is a mandate. She's saying you have to have a generator on very important facilities that serve the public and for the public safety. And so I did look at it that way, and I did write a tax incentive into it. The tax incentive will give up to a $10,000 tax deduction, and also will be considered a capital improvement, so sales tax that they may have to pay and some portions of the installation will be reimbursed from the state back to the companies. So, I thought that was very important to help small businesses because they're the ones that are suffering through this whole thing. And, you say small businesses, but the grocery stores and everybody was totally suffering with it.
So if the bill passes, then all these types of establishments would be required to have generators?
Yes, they would. And it would be 90% fueled. So in other words, 90% of the electricity that goes into their facilities would be powered. And I have another bill that's coming out that will also deal